Hello again, everybody. Welcome to OCVarsity.com. It's time to talk about water polo with a special guest. We've got three-time USA Olympic water polo coached the women in 3 games, Guy Baker, and of course, as always, Dan Albano's with us. Guy, you were at the South Coast tournament, the great tournament we just finished up over the weekend. You know, and with your great eye for talent, who are the individual players that really stood out to you at the South Coast?
Well, there's a number of good players. There's a number of good players that are already in our pipeline. Mater Dei had a number of good players. Brett Bonani, I thought, was probably the best player in the tournament overall. Chris is doing a good job with a lot of young players. He's playing, I think, 3 freshmen that are playing, getting a substantial amount of minutes that are playing. Walters and Inouye, and his goalkeeper is excellent. Farrell South with Newport was with our 93 and under team that played over in Italy. Chase Watson was at CDM, Russell Renteria at El Toro. So, and there's more players than that. I'm going to forget somebody, but a lot of good players in this area.
Very good. Dan, you know, you were at the tournament. Was it any surprise that Mater Dei came out on top of this thing, or kind of expected?
Not too surprising. I mean, they were ranked number 2 in the county,
right? And
you know, El Toro was number 1, so not, you know, out of the realm that they could win. But it was an interesting match because of there was a big game misconduct penalty to Russell Renteria early in the championship game. That's something you don't really expect to see, and changed the course. And Mater Dei ended up dominating a lot in the first half, and then El Toro made a nice run, and it was a close game in the second half. So. But you know, Mater Dei's number 1 right now, and they have the target on their back as the season progresses. El Toro looking to bounce back this week in the Ville Park Classic.
Great, Coach Baker. I want to ask you a quick question. I'm going to let Dan ask a couple here. Is, you know, we've seen water polo grow quite a bit, especially on the women's side. Has it sort of plateaued in terms of women's participation, or is it still growing in other parts of the nation?
It's still growing. Yeah, it's definitely growing in other parts of the country, and we're getting more and more players on our national teams, and even on our Olympic teams that are from outside California. And so, yeah, I'm seeing it grow pretty substantially on the boys and the girls side, across the country.
How about internationally? I know Croatia and that area has always been big. I think they have a pro men's league out there that does quite well as well. But, is there any particular parts of the world that are stronger in men's and women's where it's really blossoming the sport?
In the men's water polo, the former Yugoslavia is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Montenegro, Croatia, and Serbia are all in the top, really almost put in the top 4, just those 3 countries in the world. So they're great. Hungary's still one of the strongest teams. Women's water polo, not as strong representation in the Eastern European countries, but Australia's still strong. Canada, Hungary, Russia, all still real good teams. China's a new team. China just won their first major international medal this summer. So on the women's side, it's a little bit more balanced, continental across the world.
Well, I know we've seen when China gets after a sport, they get pretty good, pretty fast.
Very serious.
Danny?
Hey, Guy, you're beginning your 3rd year as the ODP director. That's really why you were there at the South Coast tournament. I know you've done a great job developing the pipeline. That's what you do. You recognize talent very well early. How's the ODP program going, Coach?
It's going good. We're starting our, like you said, our 3rd year. We started in this area, in the Southern California girls area, kicked off in September to start our 3rd year of the program. It's going well. I think we're building the program. I think we got a good, solid pipeline on the women's side, and we're building a good, solid pipeline now on the men's side. I think it's going to be good. I was impressed with the South Coast tournament across the board.
Yeah.
I didn't get that much opportunity to watch last year, but I got out to games on Friday and then most of the day there on Saturday, and especially at the younger level and the age, there's a lot of good younger players out there, and I think it looks good for our country in the future.
Well, that's great. The pipeline is what it's all about. That's why you're going to have the consistency year after year about winning Olympic medals after Olympic after Olympic. Hey, why is the ODP a good investment, do you think, Guy, for players and families to make right now?
Well, I think on the investment, I mean, what you get for the ODP program, you get taught the national team system. It is our entry level into our national teams, so you get started. It does raise your college profile. We promote our ODP athletes. We have a regional championships. We select athletes from there. We do try to engage with our college coaches, and I think part of this, you're doing this, and water polo is going to be able to get an education in what you're doing. So we're trying to do our part to raise their college profile. You're going to learn a lot of parts of the game. You're going to respect for the game and other things. So you get the national team system, and the biggest thing that I think you're going to learn, national team system. You get a chance to make the national team, and we're going to help raise your college profile.
All right. Is there a particular success story you can share, a guy that comes to mind so far in your that you've experienced in the ODP program?
Well, there's a lot good stories. The most recent one, we were in Florida. We ran our UANA, which is our continent, Junior Pan American Championships.
Right.
And our junior women's team was coming to demonstrate. We were running an international coaches conference for coaches in South America and Central America. We're at the conference. We're going to use our junior women's team to demonstrate, and they were running late. And our Southeast zone, our Florida zone, athletes were in the water just kind of shooting around. And I called them over and said, the junior team's running late. Do you guys mind demonstrating until they get here? We're going to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And they were awesome. And they were like 14, 15-year-old kids,
Nice surprise,
spur of the
huh?
moment.
Yeah.
You guys want to do this? And they were good. And, they did an excellent job. And for me, that was one of the highlights. It doesn't quite get to the Olympic level or some of the international thing we have, but it was awesome to be that far away from kind of our base, and the coaches in the Florida area are doing a great job, and the kids did a great job.
Great testimony to what's going on is when they're able to step
going
in
all the way across the
and
country.
show off their skills. Well, we thank Coach Baker for being with us. A fantastic segment here about what's going on in water polo, and Dan Albano, of course, has got all the wrap-ups of the Big South Coast tournament that we just had, and Villa Park had a pretty interesting time of it, and they're looking pretty sharp, and a lot of good things going on. Take a look at what Dan's doing with all the blogs and the videos at ocvarsity.com, where we've got you covered.